did. All is well that ends well. This is a bright and beautiful Thursday morning right here on Citizen 93.7 FM. Citizen 93.7 FM. And we are looking at the newspapers this morning. We're going through the national dailies and, going through a couple of the papers for this morning. We'll take a look at Punch newspaper, Daily Trust, This Day, Leadership. We'll also take a look at Nigerian Tribune. We'll take a look at Vanguard, the Nation newspaper, and also Daily Sun. My name is Sharon Smith, and joining me this morning for the paper review is our in-house analyst and the chief operating officer of Citizen 93.7, and he is also a seasoned journalist, and that is Mr. Salmon Salami. Good morning, sir.
Very good morning to you, Sheon, and our super citizen listeners.
All right, and also on the side, I have here with me Mr. Abdul Waris Sholanke, and he's a veteran journalist as well. Thank you very much for joining me this morning.
It's a beautiful day, another beautiful day. We thank God for life.
Yes, we are very much grateful for life. And as usual, we run through the headlines, the stories on the cover pages, and at the half-hour mark, we will take on some analysis from our analysts this morning. But in the meantime, let's go on a very, very short break. And when I am back, we'll get right to the stories on the national dailies. Do stay tuned. And yes, welcome back, and many thanks for staying tuned. As usual, would like to implore our listeners to please call in to join the conversation. Also contribute their own quota or their point of view or opinions to some of the stories that would be looking at this morning. The number to call is 0903 2229 797. 0903 2229 797, or you can call 0818 2222 0818-2222-205. And as usual, you can also send us a message on our WhatsApp line. It's very much available, and that is 0818-2222-205. 0818-2222-205. And now, without wasting much of our time, let's head into the Punch newspaper this morning. And on the cover story for the Punch newspaper for today, 15th February 2024, we can see that Tinubu governors meet over food crisis as emirs, NBA lament hardship. Tinubu governors meet over food crisis as emirs, NBA lament hardship. It is the Northern Traditional Rulers and the Nigerian Bar Association on Wednesday decried the hardship in the country precipitated by the fuel subsidy removal, which had resulted in higher transport costs and food inflation. The traditional rulers and the NBA asked the federal government to quickly address the situation, just as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will on Thursday, and that is today, hold a closed-door meeting with state governors at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja, to profess solutions to the economic crisis in the country. And now moving on quickly to the next. It says here that Kanu's lawyer sues Anambra community leader, demands 50 billion naira. Kalu's lawyer sues Anambra community leader and demands 50 billion naira damages. And the next says the federal government distributes 42,000 empty grains free. Ogun begins 5 billion naira interventions. The federal government distributes 42,000 empty grains free. Ogun begins 5 billion naira interventions. And also, next story says that the Labour Party treasurer suspended for accusing Abure others of fraud. Labour Party treasurer suspended for accusing Abure and others of fraud. And the next year on the Punch newspaper still says that two ASPs dismissed over $3,000 extortion in Rivers State. Two ASPs dismissed over Rivers $3,000 extortion, and that you'd find on the Punch newspaper. And here it says that Power Minister lament as electricity subsidy rises to 3 trillion naira. Power Minister lament as electricity subsidy rises to 3 trillion naira. And here, in regards to business, the federal government to borrow 2.5 trillion naira via bonds. The federal government to borrow 2.5 trillion naira via bonds. And this was said by the Debt Management Office in a circular issued on Wednesday, which stated that the offerings consisted of 1.25 trillion naira with a maturity date of February 2031 and 1.25 trillion naira with a 10-year tenure. The FGN savings bonds are part of the domestic borrowing plan of the federal government. And now quickly, let's see what is happening on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. The top story says that after CBN and FAAN, Upstream Commission transfers over 200 staff to Lagos. Upstream Commission transfers over 200 staff to Lagos. And following the recent mass transfer of staff by the Central Bank of Nigeria and the relocation of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission has concluded plans to relocate some departments to Lagos from Abuja. And here the next story says that Enugu Mba inaugurates Security Trust Fund. In Enugu, Mba inaugurates Security Trust Fund. And now another story here says that Varsity knocks EFCC over midnight raid, alleges assault on female student. Varsity knocks EFCC over midnight raid, alleges assault on female students. And now, looking at one or two sports stories, it says that Osaka gets walkover as Zheng falls to Fernandez at Qatar Open. Osaka gets a walkover as Zheng falls to Fernandez at Qatar Open. And now lastly, on the Daily Trust newspaper, the breaking news says that there are honest police officers in Nigeria. There are honest police officers in Nigeria, and that you'd find on the Daily Trust newspaper for this morning, the 15th of February 2024. Apparently, on the 9th of January 29th, 4 Nigerian police officers led by Inspector Gambo says that they were on patrol at a checkpoint on the Yola Jalingo Road in Taraba State, and that is not unusual as police officers often do. They flagged down a passing car, and in it they found suspicious persons with suspicious cargo. The reports never stated the nature of these persons or their crimes, but that is beside the point. The occupants of the car, being criminals of some sort, decided to do what criminals often do when confronted by lawmen. They offered a bribe, this time to the tune of 8.5 million naira. Now, anyone who knows the antecedents of Nigerian police officers at their checkpoint could hazard a guess as to what happened. Except in this instance, the 4 officers rejected the bribe and arrested the suspects. The suspects and wads of cash were bundled to the police station to face the law. And that you'd find on the Daily Trust newspaper for today. Another story here says that Oji Kalu, Ogba Elegbeleye, Ronswe, and top sports Sportsville Awards nominees. Oji Kalu Ogba Elegbeleye, Top Sports Awards nominee. And the next year says organizers unveil Kogi United, Flight FC, 10 others for Unity pre-season tourney. Organizers unveil Kogi United, Flight FC, 10 others for Unity pre-season tourney. And now let's see what's happening on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Taking a look at the Vanguard newspaper, the top story here says, hardship, we can no longer pacify our subjects. Northern monarchs tell the federal government. In regards to hardship, we can no longer pacify our subjects. Northern monarchs tell the federal government. Monarchs from the north, under the umbrella of Northern Traditional Council (NTC), led by the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Mohammed Sahad Abubakar III, says we can no longer pacify our subjects. And now, next story says, Zamfara indigene laments that bandits now rape our women. Zamfara indigene laments that bandits now rape our women. And now, the next story here on Vanguard newspaper says that why new Supreme Court justices can't resume now. Why new Supreme Court justices cannot resume now. And this is about the law and human rights. The Vanguard part of it digs out factors responsible for the delay in the inauguration of 11 new justices of the Supreme Court, almost 2 months after the Nigerian Senate had confirmed their appointment. And now, to get an in-depth story to the headline, you need to get your hand on a copy of the Vanguard newspaper and get up to speed with the rest of the stories. And now, taking a look at some more stories here on the Vanguard newspaper, it says that court remands 13 suspected killers of Kwara monarch. Court remands 13 suspected killers of Kwara monarch. And then another story says that U.S. aviation lawyer speaks out on crash that killed Wigwe and others. U.S. aviation lawyer speaks out on crash that killed Wigwe and others. And now, lastly, it says that Delta community protest accuses police hunters of kidnapping. Delta community protest and accuses hunters of kidnapping. And just so we know, the naira depreciates to 1,565 naira per $1 in parallel markets. Dollar depreciates to 1,565 naira to $1 in the parallel market. Now, looking at the This Day newspaper, it says here on the top story that the Sultan of Sokoto, same as we have seen on the Vanguard newspaper, the day after cried. And also it says Nigeria sitting on keg of gunpowder. The Sultan of Sokoto says Nigeria sitting on keg of gunpowder. And it says youth unemployment poses grave danger. Youth unemployment poses grave danger. And then it also laments nation's economic hardship. The Sultan of Sokoto laments nation's economic hardship. And also he declares people deeply frustrated and hungry. People deeply frustrated and hungry. And now the next story on the This Day newspaper says that Sanwo-Olu to UK, consider Lagos destination of choice for investment. Consider Lagos a destination of choice for investment. And here Tinubu says that students loan scheme to become operational in 2 weeks. Student loan scheme, to become operational in 2 weeks. And Tinubu asked Senate to confirm Cardoso, 11 others as MPC chairman members. Tinubu asked Senate to confirm Cardoso, 11 others as MPC chairman and others. Also, Let's take a quick look at the leadership newspaper and see if there are any relatable stories or something new to edge on. And here on the cover story of the leadership newspaper, it says that reps propose parliamentary system of government. Reps propose parliamentary system of government. The House of Representatives has taken a major step towards replacing the current presidential system of government being run in our country, Nigeria, with the parliamentary mode. The House of Representatives has taken a major step towards replacing the current presidential system of government being run in Nigeria with the parliamentary mode. And now, again, CBN raises import duty forex rate fourth time in 10 days. And a trending story on the leadership newspaper here says that Wigwe Access Holdings appoints Bolaji Agbede as Group CEO. Access Holdings appoints Bolaji Agbede as Group CEO. And the next one here says Christian Association of Nigeria seeks political leader support for suffering masses. Christian Association of Nigeria CAN seeks political leaders support for suffering masses. And then next here, experts list gains as Nigeria leads African solid minerals body. And the next story here, in regards to insecurity, North no longer oasis of peace, says Governor Uba Sani. The North no longer oasis of peace, says Governor Uba Sani. And this, he said, that the North, which used to be the oasis of peace, has in recent times been grappling with problems of insecurity and poverty. He stated this at the executive committee meeting at the Northern Traditional Council. And the next here says that cocoa prices surged to record high on Naira depreciation. Cocoa prices surged to record high on Naira depreciation. And now lastly, Customs Lekki Port assures importers of efficient, seamless operations. Lekki Port assures importers of efficient, seamless operations. And here, also in regards to operations, investment trapped broadband penetration nosedives as infracos face new hurdle. Investments trapped broadband penetration nosedive as infracos face new hurdles. And now, infracos are the infrastructure companies. It says that the 17.5 million naira infrastructure companies used in obtaining open access fiber infrastructure network license from the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) may go down the drain as they face new hurdle that could mar the rollout of the infrastructure to the 6 geopolitical regions of Nigeria. And this was a finding that was revealed by the leadership newspaper. And now, with little or no time, let's see what is going on the Nation newspaper this morning. And now, taking a look at the Nation newspaper, we can also see here that the federal government releases 42,000 MT of grains to ease food crisis, and that is on the cover story of the Nation newspaper. 42,000 metric tons of grains has been released to ease food crisis. And now the next says that battle for ticket. 12 Edo APC aspirants for direct primary. 12 Edo APC aspirants for direct primary. And now it says that 18-year-old bags 2-year imprisonment for $500 fraud. 18-year-old bags 2-year imprisonment for $500 fraud. And now NBA rejects Nigeria UK trade pact to challenge MOU. NBA rejects Nigeria UK pact to challenge memorandum of association, pardon me. And this comes to the rider that says association suggests ways out of economic and security holes. The Nigeria Bar Association yesterday insisted on challenging the enhanced trade investment partnership agreement between Nigeria and the United Kingdom, pardon me. It expressed the fear that the agreement would take jobs away from Nigerian lawyers if their UK counterparts were allowed to practice in the country. Nigeria signed the far-reaching MOU with the UK on Tuesday. And now let's see what is happening on the Nigerian Tribune. It says on the top story that rising debt, FG may cancel electricity subsidy, and this was said by Adelabu. In regards to rising debt, FG may cancel electricity subsidy. And now moving on quickly, it says here as a breaking news that Senate names 43-member panel on Constitution review. Senate names 43-member panel on Constitution review, and the Senate President has just named a 43-member and ad hoc committee to further review the 1999 Constitution. The committee, which is chaired by the Deputy Senate President, Senator Barau Jibrin, has a member from each of the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. In addition, each of the 6 geopolitical zones has a member on the committee, and that you'd find on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper for today, 15th February 2024. And now here a story says that Tinubu to depart for AU summit today. Tinubu to depart for AU summit today, and that is the African Leaders Union Congress. Tinubu is set to depart today. A statement issued sometime on Wednesday by Ajuri Ngilali, special advisor to the president, media and publicity, informed that the theme of this year's summit is educate an African fit for the 21st century, building resilient education systems for increased access to inclusive, lifelong, quality, and relevant learning in Africa. Educate an African fit for the 21st century, building resilient education systems for increased access to inclusive, lifelong, quality, and relevant learning in Africa. And with all of that stories being looked at, before we make a mumbo jumbo of all the headlines, let's even take a break. And when I'm back, I'll bring on my guest in the studio to run through analysis of some, or if possible, most of the stories that we have looked out at this morning. Just stay tuned, and we'll be right back on Citizen 93.7 FM. If at all you haven't gotten the number down, please take note of the number to call in to air your own opinion. The number is 0903 2229797, 0903 2229797, or 0818-2222-205, 0818-2222-205. And now do stay tuned. We'll be right back for more conversations.
Hello, Abuja. You are listening to 93.7 Citizen FM, the latest radio station based in Nigeria's capital. Our station seeks to broadcast a broad mix of culture and views with priority given to development programming to enable residents share ideas and opinions, music and drama. At Citizen FM, We believe in progressive talk and solution-driven conversation. Our aim is to build a united Nigeria by bringing people of diverse culture together through communication. Enjoy listening to 93.7 Citizen FM. We are more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life. Hello, Abuja. You are listening to 93.7 Citizen FM, the latest radio station based in Nigeria's capital. Our station seeks to broadcast a broad mix of culture and views with priority given to development programming to enable residents share ideas and opinions, music and drama. At Citizen FM, we believe in progressive talk and solution-driven conversation. Our aim is to build a united Nigeria by bringing people of diverse culture together through communication. We are more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life. Hello, Abuja. You are listening to 93.7 Citizen FM, the latest radio station based in Nigeria's capital. Our station seeks to broadcast a broad mix of culture and views with priority given to development programming to enable residents share ideas and opinions, music and drama. At Citizen FM, we believe in progressive talk and solution-driven conversation. Our aim is to build a united Nigeria by bringing people of diverse culture together through communication. Enjoy listening to 93.7 Citizen FM. We are more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life. Hello, Abuja. You are listening to 93.7 Citizen FM, the latest radio station based in Nigeria's capital. Our station seeks to broadcast a broad mix of culture and views with priority given to development programming to enable residents share ideas and opinions, music and drama. At Citizen FM, we believe in progressive talk and solution-driven conversation. Our aim is to build a united Nigeria by bringing people of diverse culture together through communication. Enjoy listening to 93.7 Citizen FM. We are more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life. Hello, Abuja. You are listening to 93.7 Citizen FM.
And yes, many thanks for staying tuned. Welcome back to the Citizen 93.7 FM. And it is time for me to bring on our in-house analyst to run through some of the stories and to even kickstart the analysis this morning. And before that, I'd implore once again that you, Super Citizen listeners, call in on 0903 2229797, 0903 2229797. Call in this morning to join the conversation and also to air your opinion in regards to whatever it is that we would be analyzing this morning. And quickly, with little or no time on our side, we are going to kickstart this morning's analysis with this story that says that Sultan speaks on monsters harassing Nigerians. Apparently, the Sultan of Sokoto and the chairman, Northern Traditional Rulers Council, Al-Haji Mohammed Sahad Abubakar III, has said that things are not okay in Nigeria and northern Nigeria in particular, as the two monsters that have been harassing the citizens are insecurity and poverty. Before we delve deep into the conversation, let's take a quick call from one of our Super Citizen listeners. Hello, good morning. Hello. All right, if you are listening and you can hear me at this minute, do make sure you call back. And I'll quickly, Mr. Salami, thank you once again for joining me this morning. Mr. Salami is our in-house analyst, and like I said and like I read out earlier, our first story to analyze this morning is the Sultan speaking on monsters harassing Nigerians, and he's stating equivocally that it is insecurity and poverty. And he expressed fear that with millions of Nigerian youths left without jobs and food, Nigeria is sitting on a keg of powder. Without stressing further, Mr. Salami, sir, what do you make of this headline this morning?
Once again, good morning, our Super Citizen listeners. It is saddening that we are where we are now. The truth of the matter is that there is economic hardship in the land. People are wallowing in abject poverty. It is that bad that the Sultan, as the leader of the Northern Traditional Council, has to come out and tell the government what we have been drumming to the ears of the government. Not only from Citizen FM, but the Nigerian media has been strident in telling the federal government that things are falling apart. I hope the center will still hold. There is the need for the government to please do the needful, because the economic hardship is much. Don't let us play politics with the lives of our people. And the mandate, the critical objective of any government is the protection of life and property of the citizenry. Protection of life involves making food affordable and accessible, amongst other things. We implore the federal government to please, as a matter of urgency, look into this, because things are falling apart. I hope the center can still hold. Let me leave it at that for now.
All right, thank you very much for that very brief and accurate analysis of the particular story, and also imploring leaders to, make available food and whatnot. Now, talking about availability of food for the country and also making the economy better, there's a news story here that says that Tinubu governors meet over food crisis as emirs NBA lament hardship. We just, looked at the story where the Sultan of Sokoto and also, a couple of the members literally just said that the North is even faced with so much. And then here it says that the Northern traditional rulers and the Nigerian Bar Association decried the hardship in the country precipitated by the fuel subsidy removal, which had resulted in higher transport costs and food inflation. The traditional rulers and the NBA asked the government to quickly address the situation, just as President Bola Tinubu will today hold a closed-door meeting with state governors at the Aso Rock Villa to propose solutions to the economic crisis in the country. And now to start with, I think the first question I'd even like to ask is, how are you, Mrs. Salami, even able to cope with the higher transport cost and food inflation? Because as much as we're here in the studio, we turn up every day, we are still Nigerians and we still live within the country. What is it that you think, from your own point of view, about this story?
The removal of the fuel subsidy and the concomitant effect on the people is telling. We need not sound like a broken record. There's hunger in the land. It is such that almost everybody is feeling it. There's no more middle class citizen in Nigeria today because of the effect, perhaps maybe the not unintended consequence of the removal of the fuel subsidy, or unintended consequence of the policies of the government. It is gratifying to note that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will meet with the governors at the villa today with a view to finding practicable solution and realizable one at that to this problem. And they need to do this fast. There is no more time to waste, because as the Sultan said, that they can no longer hold their people, especially the youths, the restive youths, the unemployed youths, who are just running around and doing nothing. There are so many of them. There is the need for our government to do something and do it fast. It is urgent. There is no more time for us. Like I said, at Citizen FM, we will be critical if there is the need to be critical, but we will not be hostile.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And now, in the same story, there's a summary that says that the organized labor had also complained about the situation in the country, threatening to go on strike by February 23rd, and that is less than 10 days from today, if the federal government failed to provide the palliatives and other assistance that could mitigate the economic pains on workers. Do you think that this is foreseeable? The strike for February 23rd is actually going to happen, or as usual, a day before?
We owe the citizens the duty to educate them. We owe them the duty to inform them, just as we owe them the duty to entertain. Just as we said here day before yesterday that we will bring the president of Nigerian Labour Congress here to come and tell Nigerians exactly what is the position of the FG labor relation now. I'm pleased to inform Nigerians that I was with the president of Nigerian Labour Congress yesterday. He was to be here, and I thought he would be here as we agreed. But he has promised that he will be here today. We are expecting him. You will hear from the horse's mouth, and that will be authentic. We owe you that duty. We will go the extra mile to ensure that we give you authentic information,
okay,
and not a third-party information.
All right,
that is the essence of quintessential journalism.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Salami, for that. Now, let's quickly move on to the headline on Punch newspaper that says that Labour Party treasurer suspended for accusing Abure others of fraud. And that is the crisis rocking the leadership of the Labour Party took a deeper dimension on Wednesday when the National Working Committee, that is the NWC of the party, slammed a 6-month suspension on its national treasurer, Oluchi Okpara. The suspension was officially announced as a media parley held at the party secretariat in Abuja. Now, before Mr. Salami would, give me his own input on this, let me even take Mr. Abdul Waris, insight on this. So what do you make of this of the suspension of the Labour Party treasurer for accusing Abure and others of fraud?
Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, fellow citizens. The way I want to see the suspension, I see it more as an internal affairs of the Nigerian Labour Congress. Secondly, the question I now want to ask is, did the treasurer exhaust all the mechanisms that needed to be exhausted before going to the public? So if it's suspended, perhaps the ESCO or the working committee, they are using their own laws. That is what their laws permit, that if an executive member did not exhaust all the mechanisms for any crisis, any conflict that is within this their assembly. Since it's their internal affairs, I would just want to leave it at that, because every organization, there are bound to be crises, and there are bound to be crisis resolution mechanism. There are bound to be compromises here and there. So the issue is, did they exhaust all the mechanisms that need to be exhausted in seeking resolution of the crisis between the treasurer and the other executive members? That's the way I want to say it. It's an internal affairs.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Mr. Salami, over to you, sir.
Well, what is unfolding in Labour Party now is an eye-opener to all Nigerians that there is virtually no difference between a monkey and a decorated monkey. Because the impression was that the LP is a refreshingly different party with the obedience, and the younger ones telling us, and in actual fact, I think, like my brother said, that it is an internal affair of the Labour Party. Yes, it is. But if there is allegation of fraud, I don't think suspending the treasurer is the way to go. Let Nigerians know exactly how the affairs of Labour Party, like any other party, is being conducted. Let us leave it at that for now.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for that. I see Mr. Abduraris agreeing duly with your point here, and I agree with it too. But then let's see, there's this story here on the Nation newspaper that says that the Nigerian Bar Association rejects Nigeria-UK trade pact to challenge memorandum of understanding. I remember sometime yesterday I had shown Mr. Salami a news story that we saw on one of the news outlets on TV, and then it said that the UK would probably implore Nigeria to allow its lawyers to practice here in Nigeria. And, it raised some conversations amongst us briefly. And now, I think I should really pose this to you again, Mr. Salami, because apparently the NBA rejects the merge. It rejects the trade pacts to challenge MOU, and also the association suggests ways out of economic security wars. Mr. Salami, please your take on this.
Well, if the Nigerian Bar Association is rejecting the MOU pact signed by the federal government with the UK, especially as it relates to allowing lawyers from the UK to practice in Nigeria, well, they are protecting their chiefdom. And while there is nothing bad in that, we should know some few things. One, the world as it is today is a global village. In fact, it means you have to compete. And when you talk of the global best standards, nothing can be acceptable than that. But the question is this: do Nigerian lawyers practice in UK? Yes, they do. It's just that you must be up to date in scholarship. If UK lawyers fulfill all the conditions stated in their laws, of course there's nothing bad in that. And it's left for Nigerians now who have cases to decide as to which lawyer I will retain his services professionally. Honestly, we cannot run away from our shadow. It is a global village. The world has become a global village. Only the best is good enough for Nigerians.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Abdulwaris, you have something to say?
Yeah, Professor Joseph Stiglitz is a former chief economist, one of the American presidents, wrote a monumental book called Globalization and Its Discontents. He actually noted that globalization is not working for some members of the international community. And this is one of the concerns. Now, globalization, whether of trade, whether of capital, whether of labor, which is free movement, for you to benefit from globalization, you actually have to be very, very competitive. Secondly, your government must also put in place measures that when you are competing, you are also protected. It is not about just lawyers alone. There are so many other items of trade that we must have competitive advantage. If you are involved in globalization, if you are competing with other countries, your products must be the best, so that when another country is bringing its own, it's, of course, you have a comparative advantage. So the issue is, we know that there are going to be demerits of globalization. You cannot avoid globalization. You cannot avoid free mobility of whether capital, whether labor, whether all aspects. The point is, what is the government of each country doing to protect its citizens when they are involved in globalization? So it's a pact. It's an MOU. We need to interrogate the contents of the MOU. If there are things that will put Nigerians at disadvantage, then we'll raise eyebrows. But it is unavoidable that countries will have to relate in terms of trade, in terms of capital, in terms of labor movement.
Okay. All right, thank you very much for that. Now, let's even take a look at this story that says the reps propose a parliamentary system of government in Nigeria. They're saying that the House of Representatives has taken a major step towards replacing the current presidential system of government being run in Nigeria with the parliamentary mode. Mr. Salami, as a seasoned journalist that you are, I'm very sure you have really deep insight on this, and I would like to implore your own point of view on this. Do you think this is a right decision, moving from the presidential system of government to the parliamentary mode?
Well, let me make this clarification. The presidential system of government, as we borrowed it from the United States of America, and the parliamentary system of government that we practiced during our first republic in the 60s, it was parliamentary system of government. Did it work for our people? Yes, it did. The presidential system of government that we are practicing now, is it working for our people? I will leave it for the people to decide. But be it as it may, the so-called presidential system of government, which many people have said that it is too expensive for our country, with its demerits and merits, is working in the United States of America and for the Americans. As we speak up to tomorrow, the parliamentary system of government is still working in UK. You see, it is not so much so the system of government you are practicing. It's the people. The system will not work itself. It will be activated by the people. It will be worked upon by the people. People are to make it work or not. What I want to add is that we should look inward. We should be sincere, and we should make up our mind as to whether we want to adopt presidential or parliamentary, or to even look inward and fashion out a system that will be peculiar and we take into consideration our peculiarities. But at the end of the day, Nigerians should be honest with themselves. Are we ready to make this country work? The Senate inaugurated 43 members to review or amend the Constitution. Let us amend and amend and amend. At the end of the day, it is not so much so the amendment. It is the people. We the people. Are we really ready to be honest with ourselves and make this country work? And unless we make this country work, all of us will be done for. I pray Nigeria works.
Amen. We do pray also that Nigeria works. Now, quickly, sir, Mr. Buhari, what do you think about the move from the presidential system that we're currently running to the parliamentary mode?
Anyway, I want to look at the economics of either system. Understand? In the presidential system, you have the executive distinct from the legislative arm of government. But in the parliamentary system, that's how they call it, parliamentary system, the leadership of the country is actually also residing within the parliament. That ministers are going to be from among the parliamentarians. So in that wise, the cost of running the government in the parliamentary system is substantially reduced, because we are not going to be expending so much on elaborate presidential presidency and its aides. That is actually
okay. No problem. Please go ahead. Continue, Mr. Buhari.
So it is like the argument is likely to be that parliamentary is rather cheaper than presidential system of government.
Okay, before you continue, sir, I'd like to cut you off there. There's a call coming in. Let's take this quick call from one of our callers, and then we'll head back to Mr. Abdulwaris's contribution. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, the in-house guests. I greet you all. My name is Kennedy. I'm calling from Karo.
All right, please go ahead, Kennedy.
I thank God we don't even have enough time, so let me be straight. Talking about Sudan of Sokoto, you know, our leaders has failed us so many times. So anytime they are coming out to say something that is even reasonable, we don't just consider them. Why am I saying this? Where was the Sudan of Sokoto during the time of President Muhammad Buhari? We were experiencing things. Some of us were shouting, calling on so many platforms. They never said anything. They were there defending their own. Today, it is somebody from the West, and he's coming to tell us the reality that is on ground. So how do we believe him? Is it that it is somebody's else child, so it is good to query and to correct? Whereas if it is your own, you'll be silent. Now that is it on that. I'm not saying what he's saying is bad, but I'm just saying that they started this correction since before now. things would have been better. Let's put sentiment, religion, and the tribal differences and push Nigeria, move Nigeria forward. That's on that. Now, talking about changing the system of government, I want to ask this question. If we change the system of government, are we going to bring people from other countries to rule us? These same people are the people that will still rule us. So what, rather than change the system, why don't we change the mindset of our leaders? Why don't they put us forward? Because this same system that we are saying we want to change today, we saw it work in other countries up to date. So what are they telling us? Are we going to bring people from other countries to rule us if we change the system? Thank you. God bless Nigeria.
Amen. Thank you very much, Kennedy from Karu. Apparently, with little or no time on our side, we need to bring today's analysis and also review to a close. But so far, so good. We've also listened to Kennedy's take on, most of our news stories. And also we've had to listen to Mr. Salami and Mr. Abdul Waris. And before I head out this morning, do we have any final thing to say, Mr. Salami?
God bless Nigeria.
Amen. God bless Nigeria and God bless us. Mr. Abdul Waris, please.
Nigeria will survive, inshallah.
Last. All right. Thank you very much, Sez. Thank you for joining me this morning and making it as seamless as it always is. To our super citizens